Everett Edwards talking to Maude
Yes,
at Vestal, New York, on our vacation.
yes.
All right, now you go ahead and you tell us about when Grandpa built the house in Scranton.
Well, they built the house in 1863, and they lived in it just a short time, and then they moved to Binghamton, New York. And in Binghamton, they were there for about a year and a half or 2 years when Mother was born in Binghamton. Then they moved to Ilion, New York, and stayed there about 2 years, and Uncle Frank was born up there. And then from there, they went back to Scranton in the old house, the old homestead. And they lived there until, what date was that about?
Think hard.
Huh?
Think hard.
Well, don't you remember?
Was that until Grandma died?
About or 1902, Grandpa died. Or Grandma died.
Must have been after that. Must have been after that.
Grandma died. I was married just 3 years when Grandma died. I was married 1906.
1906. That was 1909.
About 1909.
When Grandpa died.
When Grandma
When
died.
Grandma died.
Yeah.
And then we moved down on Cedar Avenue after that.
Mother did.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
That was
And
where
at that time, I lived in Boston.
Yeah, and that's when we moved to Chicago.
Yeah.
From Cedar Avenue. It's when Junior was. Remember, Junior was a
Junior
baby.
was born in 1913.
Uh-huh.
And then you went to Chicago with me.
Yeah, I went with you and
to Chicago
Junior.
with me in, about 1914.
1913.
Junior was how old then?
I don't know, just a
Junior.
baby.
Yeah.
Just a
Junior was
baby.
about 3 months old, that's right. When
But I
we went back.
I went to Chicago in 13.
Yeah.
With you and then Mother.
Yeah, and then you went to school there
at
at
St.
Nicholas St.
Well, that's the story of the house.
Grandpa made guns for the government during the Civil War, both in Binghamton and in Ilion. The government had a gun factory in Ilion. They transferred him from Binghamton up there. I don't know where he worked in Binghamton, made the guns for the government, whether it was just a shop or whether it was a factory here.
I think he was in a factory. It seems to me they said he
Well,
was
I
in a
know
factory.
he was transferred to Ilion, New York, and there's still a gun factory up there.
There is now? Well, we just down to see the old place. It don't look like it did then, does it?
Oh, heavens no, it's a wreck. Just a wreck, that's all. I don't want to see it again.
Was that house ever painted, do you know?
Oh, yes, it was.
White, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a white, painted white. It was painted a year before I was married. That was 1905. That we painted it, then. We painted it.
You painted it?
1905.
They painted
Year
it before
before
they
I
got
was married.
Well, you were married in that house, weren't you, Maude?
Yeah.
Well, what year was that?
1906.
1906 you were
August,
married.
August the 29th, 1906.
Oh, I see. Boy, that goes way back. Remember when in the cemetery this afternoon, or this morning, we were talking about the connection between the what was the other family that we had?
Beesecker?
The Beesecker. Now, what was
Grandma?
Yeah,
Grandma Edwards was a Beesecker.
Grandma
Edwards'
Edwards.
maiden name was Beesecker.
Was Beesecker.
Yeah.
That's your grandma or my grandma?
No.
That's your grandma.
My grandma, yeah. Your
That's
great-grandma.
my great-grandmother.
Yeah. Your
That was the
great-grandmother,
Beesecker
yeah.
in the house.
Uh-huh. That's your great-grandmother.
That's my grandmother.
Your grandmother, yeah.
And
My
Great-
Everett Jr.'s great-grandmother.
great-grandmother.
No, was a
That's right.
Beesecker.
I see.
And Grandpa Edwards' name was Erastus. Erastus.
Erastus.
Erastus.
Edwards.
Yeah. Yeah. And
They had 13 children.
13. I bet you can't name them all.
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Wesley,
the oldest.
Rosie, Rosilla, her name was. Rosilla, and Aunt Delilah,
Beeseckers.
Uncle Levi, Uncle Richard, and George, Aunt Evie, Aunt Florence, Aunt Myrtle, Aunt Louise, and Aunt Gertie, and Billy. Billy died when she's about 8 years old. Ah,
How many of them are still alive?
there's only Aunt Florence, Aunt Gertie, and Aunt Louise.
Only 3 left out of
Only
the
3 left.
13.
Boy, that goes quite a ways back.
I'll say it's a ways back.
Yeah.
And the oldest living ones is Aunt Florence and Uncle Jim, and they're 86, both of them.
Aunt Florence and Uncle Jim. Those are the two that...
Yeah,
We saw
Zacharias.
first.
Oh, that's the Zacharias. No,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, that's Uncle
beginning
Jim
to fit into a
Zacharias.
picture now.
Is the oldest living one. And Aunt Louise is 77 or 78.
77 or 78.
And Aunt Gertie is 3 years older than I am. How old am I? You're not supposed to tell your age.
Sure, yeah. How old are you?
You
I
must
was
be
born in 1884.
1884.
4
1884.
from 1 is what?
66.
7.
No,
67.
67.
Aunt Gertie will be 70
67.
that's her next birthday.
And how old is Uncle Jim?
86.
86.
86, yeah. Wow.
Just back away.
He's getting up there. Yeah. And still working.
Aunt Florence fell last fall, broke her hip.
Yeah.
She was in the hospital for 5 weeks, and then she's been home since on crutches and with a cane. And she's walking now. You wouldn't believe it.
Now
At her age.
let's see. Up at well, when we left Uncle Jim's, we stopped at
And Elsie,
Aunt Elsie's, and there was Iva,
her daughter,
her daughter,
and Iva's daughter, and sons. Iva's husband.
yeah. How many children does Iva have?
Let's see, there's Margaret, and Elsie, and Richard, and Alice, and Olive. Oh, 5.
5.
Yeah.
That's
Margaret
Iva's.
and Elsie we didn't see yesterday.
No. And then we went from there over to Uncle Tommy's,
Yeah.
and over at Uncle Tommy's there was Everett and
Everett and Kenneth, Alberta, and Lorraine, Everett's children, Alberta's children,
yeah.
2 of Alberta's, and Harry is Kenneth, or Everett. There was another one of Everett's boys there. He had 2 boys there, didn't Everett?
No.
When he won,
It was
only
just
Harry.
Everett and Kenneth and Harry that were there.
And Lorraine, and that was all.
Yeah.
The little tots, the little children.
And Lorraine's husband, of course.
Well, Kenneth's 3. Kenneth and his wife and the 3
Yeah.
this morning. Bunch.
That's about the whole
Some
plan.
bunch.
That's all so far.
There was 176 at the reunion last year.
176.
At the Edwards reunion last year.
And they were all relatives, maybe, but 2 or 3, the minister and his wife, and from Madisonville, and 1 or 2, a couple from Binghamton.
Do they call it the Edwards reunion or the McLean reunion?
Edwards reunion.
Except there's no
Edwards
Edwards
reunion.
left except 3 of
There's
them.
no Edwards left, but that's the Edwards reunion. There's only a couple Edwardses there.
The young people, the Edwards children, and their wives and husbands and children. The grandchildren are all grown up now as the Edwards is, so you see they're keeping right on with reunion. See, Aunt Louise over here had 11 children, and they're all married, and they all go to reunion. They very seldom miss them.
See, she was one of the Edwards children, Aunt Louise was.
Aunt
Yeah,
Louise was
well,
the
that's
one.
right.
Yes.
That's from Grandpa Edwards.
Yeah. One of Grandpa Edwards' sisters. And it's her
It's on the
gang.
Edwards side.
Yeah, it's her gang. See, there's only the 3 or 4 Edwardses, but they're girls and they carry other names.
Yeah. Of the Edwards boys, then, there was you.
And Austin.
And Austin.
That's all.
Now, where's Austin?
Austin,
Uncle Levi's boy.
Uncle Levi's boy. He's got one girl.
He's
He's got He's got one daughter.
Yeah.
Has he got a son too?
No,
Just a daughter.
just a girl. And Uncle Levi only had the one boy,
Awesome.
and Uncle Dick didn't have any boys, only Iva.
That's right.
And Uncle Wes never had any children.
That's right.
And Dad had 2 and Art. That's all it was.
And Art had one girl.
Yeah, Art had a girl.
It looks like it's up to these two to carry on. And Bruce
Yeah.
has got a girl.
Only Edwards is to carry on. And the
You got to
and the-
produce boys.
Now Bruce has got a girl.
Yeah, he's got to produce boys.
That's what Margaret says. What's the matter with the Edwardses? What's the matter with they don't have boys?
Well, I think
But now,
I think something should be done about it.
I think so too.
Bruce ought to have
Look
another
at the
boy.
McLeans. The McLeans and Gertie's boys are having boys.
Yeah, well,
But that's McLean.
that doesn't help the Edwards clan any.
No.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
listen, Aunt Evie had a boy. Wesley. Oh, that.
So what?
Oh, what is right?
There's only it still talks down to 2 of them.
Well,
Yeah?
what's his name? You still have another boy.
You 2 and Austin.
Austin?
Austin.
No,
How old is Austin?
he's pretty about my age, pretty as old as I am.
No young.
Didn't Austin have one boy?
Who?
Austin. I thought he had a boy.
I don't know whether he did or not. I didn't know he did.
Well, trace that down.
We'll have to look into that.
I didn't know, but his girl, I know, came to reunion. But if he had a boy, he didn't come to reunion.
Well, he better have had.
Huh?
He better have had.
Yeah. he
Bachelors can't have any boys.
No, I wouldn't think so. Yeah, you better adopt some. If you ever adopt any, make it boys.
Well, that might be one way of saving
Sure,
things.
that'll
is
be
to
one way.
Go out and adopt
One
a
way
couple
of
good husky boys.
keeping the family name. There's no other way.
Maybe Viola and I should adopt a couple boys.
Yes, that's what you should have. You should have.
Should have. They still can.
Well, sure, they still can. You sure can.
Well, we have to give him time yet.
Well, how old is he? 20?
By the time turns
4 or 5?
24. He'll be 25 this year. He hasn't just started yet.
Well, look at Lily's boy. That's no.
No.